if it does continue down, we want to see an increase of seller volume step in, and then you want to wait for the kind of that pullback into the 8. So that's kind of like what I'm looking for. So I would be looking to kind of wait for a kind of pullback, come in, and then come back down to where I would want to get in. If you are in at this level currently, all you do is want to put your stop in at this level here, and then just kind of wait. It's not, it's not a super strong stop, but the thing is, you do have a few moving average. You have the 15 period moving average, which is right above you, right? And then you have the 5 minute, 8 and 20. Your 30 minute is still all the way up here. This is where I would want to get in or wait for myself to kind of get in. If I miss the trade, I miss the trade. But that would be really that area of me wanting to get in to kind of get with the pullback all the way down here. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what I'm looking at. But again, like I said, my stop, if you're in right now, would be just kind of the local low here, or excuse me, the local high here. Put it there and then just kind of wait for it to see if it continues down. So that's about it right there. The fact is that you have about 2/3 of seller volume for the previous buy volume counter on the 15 minute here. Is fairly a good sign saying we're probably going to continue down on that 15 minute chart, or excuse me, 30 minute chart as we continue. So just remember, we got 4 more minutes into the new 30 minute. And so you'd want to expect it to kind of pull down further, come up, tap the area here, and then continue down.
Okay.
So that's in a nutshell. But
right,
it looks like it's going your way though.
Yes, but what this tells me is that instead of waiting for another big dump, I'm going to take at least half my profits here and then see what it does.
All right, there you go. There you go.
And pulled in a clean $10.
$10 a day, man, gives you $50 a week. You do that over a period of 50 weeks, man. It's not a bad situation for you.
I don't want to be making $50 a week for 50 weeks. That's not what this is all about. It's making. I should take that back. I put an extra 10% into my wallet on that gain.
There you go. So I mean, I look at it like this: keep it real simple. Go in, get your money, get out. Just remember, if you keep doing that over and over and over and over, you just start to build that chunk of change, and that, that $10 of put in your pocket turns to 20, and then turns to 40, and then turns to 60, and then turns to 100, and the 100 turns to 150, then it's 200, then 250, 300, 350, 400. It's, and if you can do that over a period of 2 years, 3 years, all of a sudden now you're making $4,000, $3,000 a day.
Yeah, that adds up.
Same thing. But it starts with $10 a day.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. All righty, so watching Ethereum starting to go down. So Tom, do we have any cool news today?
No, but we have a cool advertisement. Grabbing my coffee cup for a reason.
All righty. Let's go ahead.
Hold on. It needs to be refreshed. Oh, sorry, not the coffee one. He didn't pay enough. Hey, football fanatics. Are you ready for some primetime NFL action? Tune into Westwood One for all the gridiron glory you crave. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays, don't miss a moment or the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, every bone-crushing hit on Westwood One. And every victory, too. Wow, they changed this on me. You can listen to the NFL on the NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Ladies and gentlemen, our sponsor, Westwood One, has kindly put up a QR code right here Right there, right there. If you're watching on your big screen TV, hold up your cell phone and click it. Visit our advertisers. Let them know that our audience is interactive. It helps us greatly when you do that. They're not even asking for any money. They're just saying, check out our website. Maybe you'll download our app. Also, in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen, right there, boop, 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 there's a Learn More link for you, those of you on your phone. And if you're watching on the replay, there is a link in the description here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for Westwood One Sports for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live.
Awesome. If somebody was to spell edutainment, how would you spell it?
I spell it edu-tainment.
I like that.
I mean, you could throw a J in there to make it phonetically correct. E-J-D-U, edu, but whatever.
E-D-J-U, edu. I like that. Edutainment. I like it. I like it a lot.
I mean, the word is education, but we Americans like to say it education for some reason.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to all of those watching. If you're watching right now and you're in front of your computer or somewhere where this is shareable, please take the link to this show. Hit that share button either right below me, or if you're watching on mobile, it's over on the three dots hamburger menu probably. And share it with a trading group. Share it with wherever it is you talk about crypto, digital assets, or policy. Tell them, come visit Striking and Pedro here, and tell them it's an interactive show. They can ask questions about really whatever they want, but we'll keep it around digital assets and crypto and that type of stuff. But if you want to ask about stock market, commodities, futures, trading, whatever, we'll either look at you quizzically like, I don't know nothing about that, or we'll give you an educated answer that we at least think is sort of correct. But as we always say, this entire thing is not financial advice, nor is it us telling you what to do with your money. We're just teaching you a little bit so you can invest wisely based on your own opinions or those of your actual financial advice. How about that, Pedro?
Hey, that's good. It's actually really, really good.
All right, back to the charts.
All right. So let's go into a couple other areas here that I've been looking at. And we've talked about Crow and its pullback from where it's at over the last last week, how it kind of exploded. And like I said, I'm kind of looking at this lower area here, that 22 cent area, and potentially that 17 cents pullback area to this level here, where the 50 period moving average is sitting. This is an area that I'm looking at primarily because if it pulls back to that area, we're going to see the 50 period institutional buy step in on the daily chart. And additionally to that, it's the previous high of the last rally that we saw. So I'm definitely looking for us to come back down there where a lot of these shorts are basically being just crushed. And so they're hoping it comes back down so they can get out of this trade. And so what that's going to do is cause the market to push up and add more of a bid versus an ask action of the price. So this is kind of what I'm looking at here, but you can see how we did see a decent amount of buyer volume come in on this on yesterday's volume or on yesterday's candle. So today, as we're coming down, I want to keep seeing less volume coming in, less seller volume coming as we descend down. Hence, basically make it evident that there's more need for this than there are people trying to sell it. But the buyers are just looking to get in at a lower price again. So that's really what I'm looking for to see. Pardon me, don't mean to do that. Excuse me. Now, when you look at HNT is now broken its support level here that we were kind of waiting for it to do. It's taken a few weeks, but I expect HNT to come back down and test that $2. If it does come back and test that $2, I want to see it stay above the $2 mark area here, that 209 area. And so I'm looking to be picking up it. I want to see volume kind of come down. I want to see price come back down, pick up some HNT, and then see it kind of go back up to this area. I'm trying not to draw a phallic symbol. So
for those of you who don't know, HNT is helium, ladies and gentlemen, a decentralized network of nodes and access points for cell phones and Wi-Fi to access.
As well as the IoT network, which is the kind of the Internet of Things. Basically, the meter checkers for your city, they use an IoT network. A lot of places around the country here actually use HNT's network for it, and they pay for it. And so there's a business here that generates money, that has a good business model here that is one of the top in their industry. This is why I follow it. Just like we saw a lot of institutions really getting involved in crypto. Speaking of, there's some latest news here talking about how is Washington just, like they just brought in Tron network for, and we're going to go over that in a second here. They just brought Chainlink and Tron and a few other. Check them out. While I go over the charts, kind of get abreast.
I didn't see the Tron announcement.
Yeah, so there's been a few other ones that have kind of come out regarding that. But what's interesting is that they're really kind of, it's a matter of time before HNT gets put on. It would be crazy if you and I could validate what's the word I want to use? The meter checkers and get paid off of it. Would be the coolest thing, right? Like sitting there, instead of always having to pay a certain amount of money, you actually can mine and be part of that. In addition to that, they're also trying to create a type of internet where you and I can go. It's a secure internet, but you can go from home to home to home and literally have a full network. And if this, this obviously is not going to be like a Starlink, whereas Starlink is more based off of satellites that broadly display the internet throughout an area. This is more of just like individual pods that display and push out an internet connection, and so people can actually use it and create some type of web and a web that is in a like a what's the word I want to use? Like at a concert or even a neighborhood, right? Let's say you have 50 to 60 people in an area and they're like, you know what? We can keep spending, $100 a month, or we can spend $200-300 bucks.
Called a shared mesh network.
Shared mesh network, exactly. And so in that same sense, what would happen is you would have your own individual internet through it. But the cool thing behind it is within that network, right? You have protection, but then anybody who crosses into that, they would actually pay, or their cell phone service would pay to use that. And it wouldn't be anything crazy, but once you start dealing with thousands of these being used every single day, this is when you start to make money. So it's something that's really interesting. That's why I'm actually paying attention to HNT, just because some of the stuff that they're doing here. One of the things I'm looking at though is I don't like to buy it at expensive prices. That's why I like that 209 area and that 150 area. I know a man who literally makes $200,000 to $300,000 a day trading. Okay, legit. And he likes to buy really nice coffee. And I was sitting there talking to him, and I was like, "Oh, are you checking out that coffee?" Because he was showing me some stuff, and he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Man, that's some expensive coffee for it." He goes, "Yeah, I'm waiting for it to go on sale." And I said, "Bro, like you literally make $200,000 to $300,000 a day. Because it doesn't mean I don't want to. It's because I make that money doesn't mean I want to pay it out when something's expensive." I go, "Touche. I totally agree." I have friends of mine who yell at me, and I'm like, I don't want to spend money, on something that I don't need to spend money on.
I know a similar person in which I say like they'll cook a meal,
yeah,
and that person says, "Oh, I got the ribeye instead of the tenderloin because it was $1 cheaper a pound. It was on special at the grocery store." And the bunch of us look at each other like it's like hearing somebody that has just 8,000 piles of $100 bills laying around doing nothing except putting their feet on. And then they're like, but I saved $1.
Yeah.
I got this other meat instead of that meat. And you're like, well, it wouldn't even dent the pile. And they're like, well, that's how I got all that money.
That's exactly. As I had a foster father once say to me, if you mind your pennies, your dollars will take care of themselves. And he was very much right. Very much right. Anything we're doing is going to be hard. That was another thing he said to me. Didn't say much, but when he did say something, it was good. All right, so let's go ahead and check out a couple other things here. Now, one of the things I was looking at and we had just brought up was Tron. Oh, that's TRX. Boom. TRX is starting to come back down here, and I'm excited about it. It's kind of like pullback. I thought it was going to send. I'm glad that it's pulling back, tell you the truth. To be able to buy a little bit more at these lower levels. I'm looking more or less at this level here, which is going to be a weekly low. Right here. I should say right here. Here we are. More or less kind of like right here on this 100-day period moving average, that 30 to 29 area here is kind of like the area that I'm waiting for kind of a pullback to pick up a little bit more of Tron. This area here I feel like is a good area, especially if it pulls back to that 100-day and 200-day right here. It's just that 27 to 31 cent area is a good little area. We'll see what happens after that, but like it's strong, man. And I think it's going to be one of those ones that they're going to see things start to be used by it. Shiba Inu is actually pulling back down again as we talk. One of the things I think is what's really Shiba-Ru, Taylor Swift, Joe Rogan, Mr. Beast hit all the algorithms. Let's go. Back in the day, we used to sit there and say that because it would activate the algorithm. I don't even think it does anymore.
No, the AI figures out the context of your stream.
Let's see. Dang it. Kind of saddens me. Anyhow, okay. So you can see here that as we're coming down into this level though, SHIB, I don't think we've seen the end of SHIB. They have such a big network that it's just going to be a perfect farming a great farming community that they'll use to be able to push the market up and to see it go down. So that's why I'm more or less looking at these lower levels here of that 401 to potentially 508 again. We come back and tap that level there. We should see a decent move as we see it pop up after that. Matic has been really interesting, right? After the news of it being going to be put on the strategic reserve, what I thought was so interesting. Now, Poly was part of it, right? The strategic crypto reserve.
I do not recall that. In fact, I recall them not announcing that at first, but then some kind of thing later that it would be. But I don't recall it from the digital the day they announced them all. Well, they made the announcement saying like Bitcoin and Ethereum would be, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, but also, XRP, Cardano, Solana, and so forth. I don't remember Matic being in that initial one. I just remember them being in the talk later. Let's find out.
I was gonna say, what are all the
Oh, as of September 25, there's no confirmed information indicating that Polygon is part of it.
Either way, somebody's buying this, and it's gone from 18, 17 cents now all the way up to 27 cents. So that's a pretty substantial move comparative to what it's been doing. So I'm looking at this going like, somebody's buying this. It's starting to find support on the 8-period moving average here. And you can see it's coming up, and it's going to hit this 400-day period moving average, which they're going to see a pullback, right? We'll hit it, boom, see a pullback, kind of probably pull back to this level here. But once it breaks that 400 period moving average on the daily, all bets are off. It's up. It's up time for it. And that next level is going to be that 52 cent area here. So it's one of those ones that I've been paying attention to see if this thing really starts to get going. That next level is that 49.52 area, potentially 44. And it's nice. I mean, that could be a nice little push up there. So that'd be a good play on the futures if you're looking to play that on the futures. That's about it in a nutshell for that one. If we see it pull back, the next level of that pullback is literally the 09 area to the 094 to the 093 area. After that, then we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's kind of what I'm looking at. And the reason why I'm saying that is because one of the things I say is, if a market goes up at the beginning of the month, what do we expect it to do at the end of the month? See a sell-off. And
going down.
Yeah, so that's why I'm a little hesitant of this continuation of this market, but somebody is looking to buy this. And so, or somebody is buying this. We could see here that as it's coming down on this monthly chart, you have that 8-period moving average, which is sitting at that 23 cent area here. And so it's one of those things that it could really kind of hold support for the month. So we saw it go up, come down, and potentially go back up to this area here. And then again, another pullback down, potentially down to here and or the here. But I don't think we'll get to there. But if we do, well, then we do. My biggest thing is this for indicators: look at the amount of volume coming in month over month over the last 2 months. We've definitely been seeing real buyers step in. You saw them come in, put their position in July, and then they carried it through in August, and now we'll wait and see. But September they'll probably pull back and then push it back up here for Matic. So these are looking decent here with her. I mean, this is, and they've started to put this position in from last April, which was a lot of the strategic talks were coming out around that time. So this is why it's just like, are they putting in a position? Because it is like, from a discount standpoint, there isn't anything really being used on Matic. I mean, there's multiple people saying like they don't necessarily have a huge amount of what do you call it? Meme coins. They don't have a bunch of utility coins. There's not a bunch. I mean, there's really nothing there that you can sit there and say, oh, like Cosmo. Cosmo is really focused on gaming, right? And so anybody,
man, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, and we're going to go over Cosmo here in a minute. But it's one of those things like we can see, well, what is Matic known for? I don't know. But I bet you the government is going to find something for it to do. That's what I think, because somebody's buying this. And might be the Trump world financial.
Well, that's a good point. They could they're announcing their big relationship with Crow. And that's a good way to guarantee, regulatory access to the U.S. as partner with the Trump family. Can't believe I'm even saying something like that in this modern time. But Crypto.com, I don't even know where they're headquartered now. I think Singapore. But I fully expect to see them with a New York return to, maybe not New York, maybe to Houston or Austin, or more tax and regulatory friendly state within the United States. So should be interesting watching them come back here. Where did my somehow I shut off the Rumble Studio. Not the Rumble Studio, the comments here. Welcome, Chuck Jansen, here to the house. Thanks, Chuck, for joining us.
What up, Chuck? Good to have you.
Fire
brother.
Chicken.
Fire chicken's in the house. Fire chicken's in the house tonight. Dun.
Anyway, Pedro, I think this is a good time for us to do the old commercial break thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Pedro and I will be back in 3 minutes. Enjoy the fun music. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, everybody, from YouTube and LinkedIn and X. Welcome back to DYOR Live here. It's the top of the hour here, and we are going to talk about the topic of the day, which is Hyperliquid. We're not going to go in depth to it, but just explain to our viewers who haven't heard us talk about it much yet, even though we should have been, because it's going bonkers. Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid, we'll start out by saying, is crushing it. Just absolutely effing crushing it and killing them on it. You might say, okay, on what? What is it? What is Striking? Tell us what it is. Okay, Hyperliquid is a DEX that trades futures. Not futures as in futures contracts like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, but perpetuals. It's not a centrally managed one, it's a distributed exchange, decentralized exchange, and it does it without taking custody of your money. Your Bitcoin or whatever it is you want to put up, your USDT, it stays in your wallet. That's right. That's how it works. Let's try and see if we can bring up something more interesting than me and Pedro on the screen here about it. I don't know.
The part that I like about, as Tom is doing that, it's all right. As one thing I like about it is just the decentralized aspect behind it. That they aren't trying to hold your money. They're not sitting there having custody over it. And the fact that it's completely decentralized, which allows us to pull money in and out using whatever form of crypto you want to use. And additionally to that, the ability for you to have it's deep liquidity, right? Of people basically, despite being a DEX, it offers liquidity comparable to centralized platforms, thanks to its innovative marketing mechanics, or market-making mechanics.
Pedro.
Go ahead.
Pedro.
Yes. Go ahead, buddy. Now you're there. I was trying to
ability to ruin a YouTube clip that it's...
All right, go ahead, dude. Do it. Do what you're gonna do. Well, I don't know, man. Like, we're just in there.
All right. Pedro, there's been a lot of chains that have launched that you've seen do very well at launch, and then shortly thereafter, the money comes out of it because it turns out a lot of insiders sell. A lot of chains are financed like Polygon. Even Cardano and Solana had a lot of insiders because they had venture capital firms and stuff like that want their piece of it. And then after the lockup period, usually within a year to year and a half or so, it turns out that they just start dumping those tokens. Hyperliquid started, it had no VC money at all, no airdrop, initial airdrop, it had one later after usage, but nobody got tons and tons of free or tokens based on huge investments. They excluded VCs and angel investors. By doing that, they avoided the dump and all that type of stuff. And they dropped 31% of the token at the beginning of the whole thing to people that had been part of the testnet and all that type of stuff, turning users into owners. As it says here, loyalists and marketing evangelists, which is true because we've heard from people that got in on it early, and they're like, no, this is a real thing. Yeah, and they fund their operations. They fund their operations from an existing budget. They're not selling the tokens like XRP does. Where they got that money, I haven't been able to tell. That's a little bit of a gray area.
Well, they're crypto investors, right? That's the part that's so crazy, is that these are people who are native to crypto. They've been in crypto for a long period of time, so they've made a lot of money in crypto. I think that's where they got their money from.
You're probably correct on that. But one of the things they do is the user fees from using it go back into what's called an assistance fund, that purchases hype on the open market, helping drive the cost up. And not only that, but that hype that they buy is not burned. They're able to sell that at a later time if they need to do other types of price support or price management and stuff like that. So they've been able to construct their initial kind of liquidity in the chain and the value of it without relying on people that are incentivized to sell, and they've got a mechanism to bootstrap it up. And it's, I'll say that it's brilliant because the price essentially went from 5 cents to $50. On the charts show it going from $1 to $50. So on the body here, I talk about it doing a 50x. If you're in on it actually very early, it's more than that. But one of the important things to note about it, it's doing the user fees. $409 million in user fees in the last 6 months on $57 billion in volume or something like that. A crazy number. That's 1.2 times more than Ethereum and 1.7 times more than Solana in user fees, which is amazing. Yet hype trades at a big discount to Ethereum and Solana. So people are still bullish on this, even though it's trading at $44 right now, or something like that. And so one of the ways that I said the primary way of doing this, what they do is they act as a futures market, and I use the word futures and perpetuals interchangeably here. And what draws people to it, first of all, is low user fees and decentralization. You get to keep your crypto, meaning that a lot. There's a great example right now of a large trader. His name's the White Whale. In which a major exchange, Mexi, seized his money because they were unhappy with what we don't know. He's fully KYC'd with them and everything. They know exactly who he is. They know his bank and all that type of stuff. But they seized his money. With a DEX, nobody can seize your money. The money stays in your wallet. It stays in you. Obviously, you have to, in a trade that requires leverage, you're going to have to put collateral up. And I don't know how if they do that. Do they lock it in your wallet? Not sure how that works. But you get to keep all your stuff. There's no central place to go bankrupt. There's no central place to get seized by a government. There's no central place for record keeping other than your trades. Their trading engine matches you very quickly with a very liquid market. People, what was it? A trader just moved $3 billion. Like the other day when it pumped. Other week, it pumped from $26 to $50 because a single guy moved $3 billion sold Bitcoin, bought some ETH, and moved a ton of money into Hyperliquid, which is, frankly, it is amazing. The chain's consensus and infrastructure works entirely. The whole thing is built for matching, clearing, and settling perpetual futures. This is not a chain where, yeah, we do that. There's a DEX built on it but we're going to rely on these meme coins or pump fund. Hyperliquid is going to start. The whole thing's built for speed and matching transactions, which is how an exchange works. Now, I'm certain that with smart contracts and things like that, people can write other things for it. So that's what gives it its kind of central exchange features without being a central exchange. Where is that other thing? Where is the data on that? Perps dominate. Oh yeah, this is what I want. Perpetuals in total dollar volume, Pedro, is 75% of all crypto trading. Like these numbers we put up on the great graphics machine that says, Bitcoin has done $74 billion in trades in the past 24 hours, are almost exclusively futures trades on perpetual contracts and futures trades having to do with like regular exchanges like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is amazing. Now, most of that used to be done on Binance, and then with OKX and KuCoin and then all the rest of the groups like Mexi and stuff handled the rest. But they're picking it up. Hyperliquid, I forgot the name temporarily. Hyperliquid has grabbed 10%, all that volume here. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't 50. For example, central exchange perpetuals did 58 trillion in volume in 2024 versus 1.5 trillion on decentralized venues. And Hyperliquid only had 10% of that 1.5 trillion. And now they're gaining market share on that. The fees that they're going to generate are going to be over $1 billion for 2025 for an exchange that nobody really owns or knows who runs it. There is a foundation kind of oversees it, but they, did the same thing that most of these chains do, is they set up a separate company to actually run the DEX, so there can be a legal entity in, the US and Canada and wherever. But the foundation is like, I don't know, I don't even know where they're based, and they're the ones that control the, ultimately control it. So it's really interesting that the money that it's going to generate, $1 billion, is in use. I get speechless talking about it. But what they're doing is they're also building for the future. Because we talk about real world assets, everyone talks about real world assets. There's no way to really get that real world asset world going until there's legal mechanisms to do it. And the US is starting to move forward with, obviously with the Trump administration, a lot of crypto, a lot of digital asset laws that are friendly. And until they can get that more friendly for real world assets, nothing's going to happen. But these guys are setting the bar very high for interoperability, meaning that they are ready because of their matching engine. Is that not only will they be able to match perpetuals and futures and even the spot market orders too, but to be able to match people wanting to buy and sell real estate. Say you want to say, I want to invest in 10 condominiums around the world that have an average price of, $100,000 and have an average maintenance cost of $10,000 each. And that will bring in a revenue stream of whatever plus 10%. You just have to plug that in. And the idea is that when someone goes to sell, to say, all right, if a company like BlackRock says, we want to dump some of our condos, we've got these types of things. And that turns into an order. And you're buying your matching order, and all of a sudden, bam, you pick them up just like that. The future is going to be really strange with all this kind of stuff, but it's coming. Now, in open interest, on this DEX, this one DEX, Hyperliquid, currently has 13 billion in open interest. And Binance has 40 billion. And that's massive. But 13 billion. Do you follow the open interest on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and that type of stuff for Bitcoin?
I do. I actually look at it. I'm on a daily basis, see what's actually going on. I mean, we can actually pull it up. Give me 1 second. The open interest rate on the current contract. It's about. Give me 1 second. Let me pull on the glasses. Give me 1 second. About 1,300 right now. 1,300, 1,400 is where it's sitting. 1,350, 1,400, and that's about average. I mean, it can get up to about 1,600 to 2,000 per contract on an area. And if you really want, you just go to the CME, and you can actually see typically what the running open interest is, what they actually have on it. So I can just go right here real quick, CME, and then you just type in here. Excuse me.
Welcome, Fire Chicken, to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Bitcoin futures. I'll just pull up right here. Futures quotes. And you can see right here, you actually have settlement volume open interest right here. You actually pull that up. You can actually see it pull kind of the average of it. And you can actually go longer and ask it for more data. But roughly, like if you look, my computer's starting to slow up. It's about 15,000, right? The last couple of weeks, we've seen it increase, but on average, it's about 15 to 13,000 right here. It's like 9 or open interest. So you can see here.
So essentially, this one DEX started its own blockchain group that started a new DEX, has the same open interest as the venerable Chicago Mercantile Exchange in Bitcoin.
Actually, let me rephrase that. I was wrong. I thought this is volume. Yeah, it's actually open interest is roughly around 27,000 contracts. But mind you, that each contract, okay, gives you access to about, I think, based the price of what 4 Bitcoin is. Because the amount of money that you can put out to be able to hold a Bitcoin is super small. Like it's like 10, I think it's $10,000 to $20,000. And so for the price of a Bitcoin itself, which is going to cost you about $100,000, if you deploy that money on the CME, it's in excess of basically a 5 to 10x value.
All right, so that equals about $11 billion roughly then in open interest in US dollars. And so even if it's 5 contracts, not 4 or something, we're still in the right area. It's like we'll say between 10 and 15 billion, which is in that. And if Hyperliquid has 13 billion, it's all kind of, and that's probably a guesstimate, I bet too.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing, and you and I know people that got in on that early. I wish we would have.
50 cents.
It would have been like talking about that $1.7 billion lottery.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. And one thing, I mean, Brian isn't, he's not one of those guys who will talk something up. One thing I do appreciate him, and I should have taken this to account, is
give us a second here, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing I do love about him is just the fact that he's just real, right? If he says this is, he's not going to openly talk trash, but if you ask him personally, he'll just straight tell you, yeah, that's trash. And he came out. I mean, he was on his, if you guys haven't seen him, it's Brian Shiitake over on Instagram, but he gives you not just the reason why from a crypto bro side, but literally from a tech savvy, somebody who invests in real estate, someone who's been in the markets for 10 years, 12 years. And I know that seemed like a long time, but he's actively been in it. And
right.
I know that he was raised up in it, just looking at it from what's the long-term effect there? And him being excited, I should have sat there and been like, hey, pay attention, Will Robinson, right? There's stuff here. You should probably pay attention. So I didn't, right? It's another one I said. But here's the thing. I also know that these guys have been consolidating here, and I'm looking at this, and literally be able to buy it at $35 or even lower here is something that I would love to be able to do. It's not bad. I mean, the fact that it is a free fee-based trading system itself, so it doesn't have that upwards push of trading, right? It's like I buy the coin, I sit there, I utilize it by the trades, but it's not by me buying and selling isn't going to affect my purchase of the coin. So whereas in previous times, like say you would have to buy KuCoin, right, to be able to get movement on it, for you to be able to get into that. Whereas them, you don't. You just simply buy the coin if you want to take part in the profit sharing aspect of the company. And that in itself is a major ploy to be able to buy that coin, because you see they have multiple business revenue, multiple revenue business systems that really will cause it to grow. So I look at that and I'm like, it looks nice, man. From a charting standpoint, we're seeing higher lows, not necessarily higher highs here, but it's one of those things that, it's probably just a matter of time before we really do see that pickup. I wish we could actually see the very beginning of it. Where is it that you saw the beginning chart from the 50%?
I believe it was Coin Market Cap.
Is it Coin Market Cap?
Let's see here. See if I can focus in on the beginning of it here.
Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick.
No, the Coin Market Cap is much higher. It's at like $3.05 that it's tracking it.
I think I was looking for it the other day. I just knew that it started around like 50 cents or something like that. So where it's at right now, that 100x ain't bad. I mean, or what is it? Maybe 80x.
Ain't bad at all is right.
Yeah, and especially if you put in with a little bit of size with it, that it's not a bad day for you. Definitely. But he'd been talking about it now here for a while, and even on this pullback of $9, man, that's you just talk about a steal. From literally going to 35 to 9. Like, they'll look back at this and go, man, 15.1 market cap. I have 15.1 billion market cap. Is that what you have?
CoinGecko's reporting 12.2 billion market cap. Let's see what hold on, I can tell you what the fully diluted. Fully diluted is 45 billion. So there's still a lot of tokens to be. There's still a lot of tokens that are out of
60%
circulation.
Yeah, you said it was 30-something percent that actually was deployed, put into the circulation. Circulation. So you still got 60.
That makes sense then, right?
Right. Gotcha. Don't worry. You're good.
Hey, simple math.
15, 30, 45. But it's not even that. It's just like looking at that from more of a trading standpoint. You've got a lot more leverage here than they really. And I think they probably planned for this, right? Of just, all right, this is going to be a big deal. The fact that it's decentralized, the fact that we're not going to charge any fees, which is one of those things as a trader, you look to see like, look, what are my fees? Where are you going to take out of my paycheck, or not paycheck, but you know what I'm saying? You're going to take things out. And so it'd be silly for America not to want to bring this organization into America and capitalize on it, because it's efficient, it's easier to use than most DEX, and it's simple, right? And the fact that you can trade futures on it also gives it a leverage side comparative to the spot market. So I just, I respect that idea of being able to allow us to be able to trade. And the most important thing is I self-custody, not them. And that's huge. I think it's huge. So if I want to, let's say they are having issues, let's say they are hacked, I don't have to worry about my wallet getting hacked if I'm pulled away from the system. And so with a lot of the legislation going on right now about, apps and being on Google and or Apple Play Store, all of a sudden they could easily sit there and say, you know what, no longer want you to have this. And, all of a sudden you no longer have your MetaMask, right? And that's, you go to their website and download it yourself. But it's still one of those things that you can look at that and go, oh no, or if they don't want it on a Google phone, or let's say Android doesn't want it, right? All of a sudden now you're stuck again. So I think having a decentralized system of saying, yeah, you can't have it, but then I can go around and say, well, it doesn't matter. It's decentralized. There's nobody there to really go after. And to me and to you, I feel like that decentralized self-autonomy, being able to get in and get out of something without necessarily the big brother looking over your shoulder and saying, you're doing something wrong. I'm like, no, I just want privacy. I like doing my own thing, right? And I think it's a beautiful thing.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Hyperliquid. Check it out. if you currently trade perpetuals, Bitcoin perpetuals and other things, might as well give it a try. Could be the future of perpetuals, especially if onerous regulation comes about. Funny enough, though, if I use my computer in Canada, Hyperliquid says, nope, sorry, can't do it. So I'm not able to. I can just view the main primary screens, but I'm not allowed to do any type of wallet connect or anything like that. It just says you're coming from an area that we don't participate in. And even it says visit our terms of service, which say you're not even allowed to use a VPN to do that.
What about America?
You know what?
Americans into it?
All you got to do is go to just Google Hyperliquid's foundation and then launch its app, and it'll tell you. All right, I had a timer on the screen, Pedro, just to wrap this section up here. Let me see if we've given us a nice ad here to run. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Hyperliquid. Go check it out, learn about it. I'm certainly gonna follow it more, and probably play with the perpetuals part of it in the near future, and see if it's something that we want to talk more about. See if the price is going to keep going up, and keep it on my radar here. The comment section today, ladies and gentlemen, a little light, you guys. If you can, if you're out there listening, if 76 Norton, you're out there, Brando Commando, give us a chat here. Help with the engagement, help with the sharing algorithm, all that kind of great stuff. You know what really helps with all that, Pedro?
It's when we have coffee. That helps us out.
No, it's when we just happen to have a sports cooler with us.
Ah, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, and including the entire outdoor crew here, if you're into fishing, camping, or getting off the grid, meet your new best friend, the Hunter Orange 25-quart cooler from Caddy Sports. This isn't your average cooler. It's roto-molded for max durability. It's bear-proof, and 20% lighter than other brands. So it's easy to haul whether you're in deep backcountry or just setting up at the dock. You'll get up to 3 days of ice retention thanks to thick, high-performance insulation. That means cold drinks, fresh food, and fewer ice runs, whether you're chasing muttons offshore or posted up at your campsite. Best part, it's 40 to 50% cheaper than the big name coolers. You know which four-letter word ones I'm talking about there. But still built to perform season after season. And like all Caddy Sports name brand gear, it's proudly made in the United States of America. Use code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off your order today. That's caddysports.com. Go grab the Hunter Orange 25-quart cooler and keep your next adventure ice cold. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for paying attention to Caddy Sports here. Right next to me here, there's a Caddy Sports QR code. If you're watching on your big screen TV, hold up your cell phone there, click that QR code, and go see what they're all about. Also, if you're on your cell phone, in the comments section, or in the chat section, there's a link saying, hey, you can go learn more about it. If you're watching later on the replay, ladies and gentlemen, then in the description of this show, there is a link to Caddy Sports and the 25-quart cooler. So use Rumble code at checkout. Use the code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off of your order today. Thank you, Caddy Sports, being the segment sponsor, DYOR Live today.
It's really interesting that Caddy, or Atkins, has been making some cool comments, and I still can't believe it. Who's the head of the SEC? It's Atkins, right?
Paul Atkins, yeah.
Yeah, Paul Atkins. It's crazy to hear him talk about. That's a good thing that I don't know the guy's name. I probably should.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, I totally agree with you. Totally agree. Why would she know? We should know who a Fed governor named Lisa Cook is. Who cares?
Yeah.
Or Governor Waller. These 1 year ago, if you said name anybody on the Fed other than Jerome Powell, I would have been like, eh. 2 years ago, I wouldn't even be able to name Jerome Powell.
Yeah.
I would have recognized it. I'm like, oh yeah, if I saw it in the list. But exactly, we shouldn't have, these people should be in the background doing their thing. Obviously, if they screw up, bring that to the forefront like Lisa Cook did. But still, these are not political discussions we should be having. All that stuff should operate out of politics and in the financial world discussion.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Kaching says, keeping it cool with DYOR. Thank you very much. Keep that cooler. Keep a fire chicken hot as well. Or can that cooler? Yes. By golly gee willikers, it can keep your fire chicken hot also. Just pile it full of tokens there, Kaching. Sorry to interrupt you there, Pedro.
No, it's all good. It's just cool to know that we're not dealing with like such a hostile thought. Like I don't have to sit there and go, okay. The only thing I'm a little nervous is that the backlash that might come in if there is a regime change, right? But if there's a new regime change, but they get a ton of crypto money, I don't think we'll have to deal with what we dealt with in the previous administration and their interactions with the crypto natives. So fingers crossed, but I think it's a good sign, just simply saying, that you have Atkins who's going to be in there in the next administration, and if they decide, that they don't like it, they're going to at least get an earful of good information if they're going to so choose to kick him out, just like what we heard with what's that guy's name? What's his name? Who used to be the SEC? I forgot it. I already forgot him. The
bald guy.
The bald guy. Yeah. I heard he had halitosis, and
Gary Gensler.
I thought it was halitosis because he would just, some of the crap that would spit out his mouth.
The good news is that we haven't heard anything from him either.
Yes. He did apply for a few crypto.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably a staffer on Elizabeth Warren's Senate staff right now, or something horrible like that. All right, but that's a good segue into this discussion. You mentioned, what if there was a regime change? And we're not talking about Syria, Iraq, or Venezuela. No. We're talking about Washington, crypto. D.C. Yeah. Pedro, what happens if this conversation's of 20 million episodes of 50,000 podcasts. But I'm going to limit it to what happens to crypto and Bitcoin trading and custody and all that type of stuff if the Democrats take control of the Senate and the House, with the ability to pass laws with that, more than 60 people in the Senate. And Trump's still the president, but Congress can do whatever it wants if they can get a veto-proof, margin. Hard, but in 3 years, if they also take the presidency. Okay, so assume the political winds have completely changed, which is hard to imagine because that political party is a total disaster right now. But say they get their shit together. And they say, all right, we're taking control here. And they say, all right, this experiment with Bitcoin and Ethereum is over. BlackRock and JP Morgan and crew, you guys can get lost in crypto. Thanks for your money and everywhere else and helping us, but in crypto, get lost. What happens to the industry? Let's talk that out here for the next minute or so. Where do they go?
Well, I think one of the things we could see is a sprint, and I mean a sprint back to Dubai, right? Dubai. In addition to that, you would see Venezuela as well as El Salvador. Argentina, Venezuela. Right. Argentina and El Salvador being another hub again, because the reality is they've already made it very clear that, look, we are pro crypto. Now, people want the amenities that the American society bring to them, and also the money that correlates there. But it's not like, it would lose its power. I think it would go back into hibernation. I think we would see Bitcoin again drop back down to 70,000, potentially, even lower than that. But ultimately, it's still not dying, because the fact is that it is a decentralized system. Unless you're going to kill the internet, right, and the dark web,
Right.
it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard to kill it, right? It's like a badger. What are those called? Not a wolf badger. Oh shoot, the ones that fight lions and forget it. What it's called. Anyways, it's we may be tiny, but we're tough as nails, and we can. And whatever
True.
gets thrown at us, I think it would very much. It's just it could be a bad situation. I'm not saying that it won't, but it will just thin us out, make us more efficient again. And then before you know it, we're back again. We have another bull run. We go back. People are talking about this being an extended bull run. May not. I don't know. But the reality is that if in the next 4 years we see a new administration changed, I just don't think it's not a bad thing, or excuse me, it's not a great thing, but it's not something that's going to destroy crypto, because we've already been underneath it, and a lot of money's come in from it. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts that our time block is run out here at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to do a quick commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back right after this quick break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, everybody, to the show. As you know, earlier in the day, we were focused on kind of two things. One, our opening talk about Bitcoin, and then a long talk about Hyperliquid, which we will break out of this and put on YouTube as its own little video there to see if we can get some traction on it. So if you do see it out there, if you're a loyal viewer, go ahead and click that, share it, watch it, do all that type of stuff. But as usual, welcome everybody on the various channels that are watching us. Please comment, please subscribe, follow, whatever. Just do it. Just do it for us. You know what, Pedro? We were on our way to 200 followers, and I think we are 2 followers short. Let me check the old dashboard here.
Awesome.
1 follower. We got 199. We need one more follower. If you're watching out there, ladies and gentlemen, please.
And you like
our content on your smart TV, right? Yes, and you like our content. Even if you don't like it, feel free to follow us.
No.
If you're watching on your smart TV where it's hard to do these types of things, go to your phone, type rumble.com. If you're not a subscriber already, you can click create an account and log in with your Google account or your Facebook account, whatever. You don't need to pay, even though we'd like you to use the register and pay the annual fee for commercial-free experience in our premium content. But you don't have to. You can just do it free, and then join and click follow. Follow us, like us, and drop a comment that you've done something like that. It would be awesome. We would love to see that. Crypto Mike, welcome to the house. He says suits.
Suits. Yeah, we get the suits on. What's cool about it is, and I kind of want to listen, we can jump back to what we were just saying again. I want to know your thoughts on this. All right, so there's a regime change. Crypto becomes more suppressed. We see people go into hiding again, right, in a sense. And we watch, my question is this. Do you think that the natives within crypto would come back to America after everything that it's done to really propel, and all of a sudden see a switch in the administration, and then see again a lot of other legislation pulled back? Do you think that, let's say in the next administration, we see another overhaul of everything?
I don't think people would come back because they can't risk another change every 2 to 4 years. I mean, most businesses, as the old adage go, take 5 years to become profitable, and they're having to move their operations every 4. Obviously financial things are different. Hyperliquid is profitable within 8 seconds of launching, but most are not. They have to work through the VC money that they owe. They have to pay that back. They have all kinds of things they need to jump through. There's a lot of big crypto projects right now that don't generate enough money to cover their costs, like Ripple and XRP. And so I think if we drove those people overseas, they would not come back until both parties in the U.S. embraced it and all that. And that would just take time for the younger people to graduate to the retirement home, to the Senate, to get in there and ensure that everyone's view there is like, no, crypto's fine, it's normal now, and everyone is participating in the world. So, I've used this example before. It's how the risk managers work. Risk managers right now have grown up basing all their credit decisions on the strength of the dollar and the client's ability to pay in dollars. It doesn't matter if you're a Chinese person dealing with Kazakhstani oil. They still think in risk in US dollars and insured in US dollars, and for some, for that matter, a little bit in pounds and in euros too. But essentially, it's dollar-based. And until all those risk managers, including the risk managers in political campaigns, who are known as chiefs of staff and policy advisors, until they tell all of the Democrats, hey, all this stuff is good, it's fine. You know what? And we all have proper risk mechanisms to deal with it. We've driven out most of the fraud, just like, we got it to levels 1/10 of dealing in cash, so it's acceptable now. We earn plenty nobody's avoiding tax more than normal, so it just fits right into all the normal things. Then we would see people that had been driven out of the US again come back. But until that happens, if they're just like, if it's possible that each administration will flip-flop it, nope. Do not see that coming at all. I think you put yourself on mute there, my friend.
It's the idea of like when you see like the administrations come in from, and it would be very frustrating because Roe versus Wade is more of a conservative thought process, right? Of like any of the stuff that correlate there. When you look at oil drilling, again, it's a system thought process, right? The earth getting cold or getting warm, again, another thought process. I don't think crypto should be part of that thought process. I think it should be a bipartisan system that allows people to be able to receive income without being feed out, right? Like, and this is the part that is so beautiful about crypto, is I can send money for a deep discount, and the amount of money that it's going to free up in the actual markets themselves is such a dramatic difference, because you're talking 3%, 2-3% compounded every single transaction, and that money starts to add up real quick. Like I told Tom, if you can make 2-3% a day compounded, it just, like I said, $10 every day starts to add up to $50, and all of a sudden now you're able to put more money because you have more money to work with. That's what I mean. Primarily, it's a compounding effect. And to sit there and to watch a side that used to be so pro for the working man just miss the ball on this, not understanding that this could literally bring a fire to our economy in a good way. Listening to David Sachs and on the All In podcast, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name. Why am I forgetting the guy's name? Dave.
Just move on.
Yeah, sorry. Anyways, long story short, he made this comment saying basically that crypto and stable coins were a scam, and it was used primarily for nefarious reasons. And I literally went into the comments section saying, if David Sachs was here, he would reach to the monitor and slap you for that stupid comment. Like, that was dumb. Like, why would you sit there and say that? You obviously don't understand the full scope of a stable coin, let alone just all of crypto. And it was disheartening because, again, it is the narrative that has been preached in certain political arenas that just has hurt them now. And if they could kind of just come back to the center, it would make this country a lot better, I feel.
Well, I think I'm going to take a second to expand on what you're saying earlier about being able to do what you want with your money. And let's go to the example of banks. Banks do the most work they can to pay you the least amount of money. They do everything they can to lower the interest that they pay you for the money you've given them, and they give you an IOU back with your account number on it. That's an IOU from the bank saying, this is not your money, this is ours, but it's an IOU. And we're gonna give you 0.05% interest, or if you give us 100 grand, we'll give you $101,000. We'll give you $1,000 a year from now. And with investing in cryptocurrencies and stable coins and the interest that's paid there, it's quite different because those companies are actually competing against each other and are competing to pay you more interest. They want to say, you can stake on our platform and make 5% a year. And the other ones are like, those guys are chumps. You can pay 8%, we'll pay 8%. And those other guys say, well, we generate a lot of user fees, so we're not gonna just give you interest, we're gonna give you a little share of those user fees too, so we're gonna give you 20% on your money. And the money moves around. And soon, some of those companies fail because they promise too much or their business sucks like that. And that happened a lot, which caused a lot of the restrictions and stakings and people to say, we need the rules of securities and all this type of stuff in banks to make sure this doesn't happen. But actually what happens is the free market sorts that out. And the new companies that are doing it now are much more stable. They're thoroughly backed. They make smarter, more safe decisions. They don't come out and say, we're giving you 200% interest a week, woo! They come out with reasonable things that cause money to flow out of the banks and into their products. And that's a big problem for the banking community right now. They're trying to change the Stable Act, or the Genius Act,
and
whichever one was the stable.
It's in both. It's actually in both.
Yeah, right. They want to change it because they're like, oh my God, all this money could come out of our banks. Well, instead of lobbying Congress to keep the money coming out of the banks, just pay a higher interest rate. Pedro, if my bank paid me 10% on my money in staking Ethereum, paid me 8%,
I'm going to my bank.
Ethereum, I'm just going to go leave it in the bank. Thanks, guys, and get it out of my ATM card when I want and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the banks don't see that. They say, oh my God, we got to... And the banks make plenty of money. They could pay everybody that's got a savings account 10%. I mean, it's so little that when you do your taxes, that the government says you don't need to report 1099 divs from the bank because it doesn't even reach any sort of limit. Even if you have millions of dollars, they're like, with so little interest, we don't even care about it, right? Yeah. So it's that difference in companies wanting to pay you the lowest versus companies wanting you to pay the highest is essentially the difference where one political party is trying to keep the standard. Probably a lot of them are being lobbied heavily by the banks. And I'm sure the Republicans are getting lobbied by the banks as well. But with Mr. Trump indifferent, I was watching an article about it. It says Mr. Trump actually dislikes the banks because they have created so many problems for him in the past.
Yeah,
for the reasons why it doesn't matter. Just that, he just wanted to do what he wants to do. And most of the banks say, well, no, you need more credit or you need these things. And he's just like, he has no love for the banks. He knows they have to exist to keep the economy going as it is. But he's okay with lots of competition for the banks. He's fine with it. And right now, it's seemingly the Democrats are not. 6 Bravo in the house. 6 Bravo 9 in the house. Oh, I think we got our 200 follower. And I'm willing to bet that he's also from Manitoba, Canada. let's see if that was our 200th follow. Oh, the thing hasn't updated yet.
Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got about 10 minutes left in the show today. If you have any questions for Pedro and I about either what we've been talking about today or the market in general, now's the time to drop them in the comments here. And if there are people watching in a position of sponsorship or partnership, Rumble, thank you very much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Pedro and I are trying to put on a professional show here and show you what it's really like to have a digital asset and crypto talk show, rather than a yo bro type thing, in which degen meme trading happens all day, which is fine, and that would be a good partner show to ours.
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
But that's not where the future of finance is. It's the future of finance is in where the big policies are leading the digital assets. In that, what I forget who it was. I think it was Scaramucci. And Mooch said, and I say it like I know him, like, oh, Mooch said this. I have never even been in the same Zoom conference as him. What he said was, I believe it was him. He said, look, whether or not you think anything here is legitimate or you understand it or what in digital assets, it's the largest transfer of value from one asset class to another in the history of finance. He said money is coming out of other asset classes, stocks, commodities, corporate bonds, municipal bonds, savings accounts, from under the mattress, from lunch money, lawnmower money, saving up for a car money, and moving into crypto. So at least until that flow balances out sometime far out in the future, this asset class is growing. And when asset classes grow, value comes to the people that invested in it.
Yeah.
So why leave it? It's just like, Pedro, the example you give about your friend, who was it, Shogun or Ghost? One of them said, you may not like that. I mean, you may not like XRP.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But you just missed it. You just missed out on a 6x.
It was a 10x, 10, 12x.
10x.
And I knew exactly where it was going. And he goes, you called the top, dude. You could have bought in at 27 cents and rode it all the way up to like 330. You could have done that.
Right.
But your
Even
own
though you don't like
pride.
it. Same with me. I didn't like it. All I do is talk bad about Ripple and all that.
Yeah.
But I could have made money on it.
Yeah. And so with that said, and to springboard on what you're saying, Tom, I think it's akin to literally the exchange between shells and gold. I truly do. When you look at the exchange value and the amount of money transferring, I cannot see that dog. I'm sorry, brother.
It's a little Jizz who hasn't seen us in a while. Thank you for coming back. It says, courage, dear heart, little by little one walks far. I have no idea where this comes from, but it's a big mug, and it doesn't have any political thing on it or brand or anything. I can just use it and not care if it's on the air. Anyway, welcome back, little Jizz.
Yeah, what's up, little Jizz? Good
just a little Jizz.
just a little Jizz. Hey, we are going to keep moving on. So one of the things that I think is really important to pay attention also is that along with these movements, I mean, I love the show Bankless. I love a lot of these just high level crypto shows that talk about the nuances of a lot of the new companies that are coming out. I mean, they really do a great job of just bringing, say, hey, this is coming up, this is rising in here, or this is climbing in popularity. You might want to pay attention to this sector. You know, I like how they go through and really just go into the weeds of these projects, right? By having like the CEO come on and talk. But the only problem is I feel like if you're a native to crypto, you're going to understand it fairly well. But if you're still just brand new to crypto and you go to that show and you're like, what? Like, what do you mean a decentralized, I don't know, what am I trying to say? A decentralized system that allows for true interoperability. All of a sudden, or talking about consensus and new and different types and levels of consensus that are now being displayed out there, right? Or all of a sudden, it's just so much over your head that you're just like, I don't even understand the words that you're using. I feel stupider now than 10 minutes coming in. There's that old, the old video. But the thing is that one thing I do like about our show and what we're doing is that we try to take a lot of these complex concepts and really just kind of break it down to the average man so he can understand it, and keep it simple enough that he can understand it, and then build a base there so he can start to climb. And that's our goal. That's our, by bringing Hyperliquid and what they're doing with a decentralized system that allows you to be able to self-custody, i.e. I can trade without Big Brother looking over my shoulder, and I can hold my money that I make from that trade without any fees. And the best part, it's actually in my wallet. I can take that. The government can't steal it, can't take it out of my own bank, because I'm literally my own bank and have a way to make money off of it. And I think just that statement for Hyperliquid and why it was so popular is really why I think people are starting to gravitate towards our show. So really interesting.
Could be. Hey, Pedro, it's only a few minutes left in the show, but we have a viewer request.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Jiz asked us if we use Aave, not like holding it, but their banking app. No, I don't. We haven't talked about Aave in a while, or however you want to pronounce it. But Pedro, why don't you bring that chart up and let's give a little background on it.
I keep thinking the song. Ave Maria.
Look at that. It came right up on the great graphic machine.
That's
awesome. That should go back crazy. Yep, that's great. You can collateral BTC. You can ask for Polygon or ETH.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know enough about this little jizz. We'll have to put that on the list to find out more about it. Thanks for bringing it up. We appreciate it. But Aave, I don't know. I've heard people different languages say it differently.
Where you been, little jizz? You were part, and then cool.
He's been making money. That's what he's been doing, or she, or whomever. With that name, I'm guessing it's a he.
You never know. It might be a girl.
Put some of your Satoshis there. You know what I forgot? I forgot that when I switched phones, that on my old phone I had a Satoshi wallet that I used for Nostr and stuff like that, and I had millions of Satoshis. Millions and millions and millions, which probably equaled about $4. And and I have not recovered that wallet. I need to. I took into action what you guys said to me. Oh yeah, I remember. What was it? You followed Pedro's advice on a project. I can't remember which one it was. You had asked about something, and Pedro said, "Oh, it's going to come down to here first," or something like that. I do remember.
And did it work, or was I just full of malarkey? I've been stacking.
He's stacking BTC. It's always a good solution. Trading strategy. Good. Anyway, Aave, the $4.7 billion market cap, $560 million traded, about 10% of its market cap traded in the past 24 hours, down 5%. No big deal. It seems to be up a lot in the past week. What time frame you got up there? Day chart? Month?
No, this is a monthly chart. So I'm just kind of looking at what it's doing and looking at that kind of large scale of money coming in versus leaving. So you can see here, money's starting to kind of come out, but it's not anything substantial. We're going down already.
But it has followed that pattern before, Pedro.
Yes.
But the pattern, when you have that monthly chart open, it looked like the pattern when the volume came down, the price was decreasing. The volume is decreasing, but the price seems to be increasing in the past 4 or 5 months. Just a divergence of sorts.
Which I'm kind of looking to see where it's going to pull back to. And so that's why it's not a bad thing. I mean, it just simply means that Ave Maria. All right. And enough of my crazy. But you can see here, as we're watching over the last few weeks, you can see prices kind of starting to decrease here. And so as we're seeing the push up, where it's going to pull back to, we've got a couple places here. You got that 20 or 251 to 200 area. 215 to 250, and the other next area here is really that 121 area. The 121 area is a nice little area, but obviously that pullback here was a pretty deep pullback, and the fact is that we're coming up. I want to see this thing continue up and put in new higher highs. If we can see a new higher high, then when it turns around, you can see it then come back down. So that's really what I see, which would then create a higher low and then push it back up again. So that's kind of like what we're looking for here. Boom. Is Pedro Mexican? Yes, I am Mexican. I'm Mexican, Italian, Irish, and then my blood thing says.
Look at my follow-up. Look at my follow-up comments.
He claims to be California man. So yeah, about 50. I did the DNA thing, and it says that I'm Jewish too, which is kind of crazy.
Hey, those companies, I think those companies were paid to say that it literally. I mean, I have not met anyone that did that for that one company in which it didn't come back with some.
Really?
Sort of, yeah.
Oh, so I'm probably not. I should probably do another company then.
Right, I'd switch companies because there was some kind of scandal.
I might not. Maybe I'm all.
If you know how you bring up things that I'm like, Pedro, that's a conspiracy. But if someone said, you know what, I bet you the Mossad like infected their things to make everyone seem, like they have that lineage in them, then it would be better over the long term for that country. I'm not going to say those words. I would fully believe that, because after they blew up all those pagers and all that, I'm like, those guys can do anything.
Yeah, actually, maybe not. Maybe I'm not. Here's the thing, right? Like, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll do it again and see what's up. I want to see now. Now you got me thinking. I'm like, maybe I'm not. So, and then we shall find out. I'll read it I'll read it on the show when I do it again. Do your own research. Is DY? Yes, it is. Absolutely. DYOR is do your own research. Absolutely. All right. So one of the things that I do want to just bring up the last little bit here, let's go over Bitcoin here before we kind of have the close of the show here. You can see here that this month we actually came down, or we went up first to come down. I'm expecting us to pull back here again, literally kind of finish off the week, maybe Friday at these lower levels, and then see it pull back. I'm thinking we're going to put in a doji for the week, potentially, where we kind of see it kind of go down to a little low and then come back up, which would show indecision. If that does happen, if we end red and we see volume get up here, the third week where we're going to see an increase of seller volume stepping in, which would then be more of a bearish sign, saying that we're going to probably hit lower into next week. So just giving you guys a heads up on that. Tomorrow is going to be Friday. We're going to go over some of the news events that happened in regards to a lot of the government reports that were actually delivered this week, and kind of go over some of those numbers. So this will be fun. And then again, I'm going to check out some other blockchains here that have done month over month growth here, and some are going to be new ones and some are going to be old ones. So I'm kind of excited to see what we're going to see. And go check out the guys over at Hyperlink and kind of start messing with them. All right, guys, talk to you guys soon. Excuse me, what did I say? Hyperlink. Hyperlink. All right. Yes,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining the show today. Really appreciate it. We had a good discussion about Hyperliquid. We had a great discussion about Bitcoin, what it's doing for the week. And let's not forget that tomorrow is non-farm payroll at, I believe, at 9:30. So if you're a day trader that doesn't have a firm grasp on the market, stay out of it until after 9:30 Eastern time tomorrow. Anyway, as usual, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media universe. So glad to have hosted another episode of this great show called DYOR Live. Once again, man in the box next to me, Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. We'll see you tomorrow.